If you're looking to buy a stacked NBA 2K account with max badges and more, visit sportstmb.com. He has been in the community for years and has hundreds of reviews. Click the first link in the description to get your account today.
I really don't know how to start this video. I guess the best way to start it would be fuck Jim Boylen, because that's what I'm feeling the most. I tweeted the other day that I really don't know how to put into words how much I hate this guy for what he's doing to my team. Like, I've even went out of my way to say that if I was the head coach, or really any average NBA fan was the head coach of this Bulls team, they would have a high enough IQ to not make as many egregious decisions as Jim Boylen has made. With his rotations, with his game plan, with the simplicity of his offense, with who he's choosing to run his offense through. So many stupid decisions, and it makes me very sad. Obviously, I'm talking about the Bulls today, and I'm making this video because of the game the Bulls had versus the Miami Heat. Specifically, more so what happened after the game. Basically, what happened in the first quarter is Zach Lavine made one defensive mistake that was 100% on him. Two others that really were not, and well, they were on him a good bit, but like not egregious as he claimed them to be, which is what Boylen said. Why he would go on to pull Zach Lavine out of the game after only the first 3 minutes. Especially when you're considering how much the Bulls were struggling to score, maybe taking your 25 point per game level guy out of the game is not ideal. Lavine had a problem with this. He felt singled out. He was asked after the game if he still trusted Jim Boylen, and he basically said no. He said, how am I going? It's hard to basically he said it's hard to trust someone who does not trust you. So very clear that relationship is damaged. If you listen to the Low Post podcast with Zach Lavine, he spoke pretty fondly about the relationship, acting like it was a pretty solid one, and now it looks like it does not exist anymore, and there's going to be some internal drama, and all I have to say about that is good. I'm glad it's happening, because I want change. There is, even if it means the whole city of Chicago being on fire for a few days, any change is better than what's going on right now. So I'm glad that there is some drama going on right now. I'm glad it's getting some national media attention. This team needs changes now. The past couple of games and in games prior, Jim Boylen has been closing out games with the bench unit up until like the last 3 minutes of the game, which is something that I only do occasionally on accident in 2K. And this man is doing it intentionally as an NBA head coach in the fucking NBA, and the end of close games. Against the Milwaukee Bucks, Zach Lavine and Lauri Markkanen, who are our main scorers, did not get into the game until the last 4 minutes. Now, people were criticizing Zach and Lauri for blowing that game, but I would argue that the fact that they sat for like 16 straight minutes, because they got taken out at the end of the third quarter as well, is the reason that they played so poorly, because they had not gone in the game for 16 minutes. Imagine having a head coach run your team's two best players, or at least what should be your team's two best players, for not 16 minutes straight. Absolutely ridiculous. And what annoys me the most about Jim Boylen is he does not have any accountability. He does not take responsibility for any mistakes that he makes. He's happy to call out mistakes that the team makes. He's happy to pull out Zach Lavine when he makes mistakes. But when Boylen makes mistakes, the team didn't try hard enough. We didn't have the fucking spirit. I'll tell you what, Jim Boylen has really made me hate the word spirit. We don't need spirit. We need a coach who can coach a goddamn basketball team. And we do not have that. I saw a tweet the other day when we were playing the Miami Heat that said if we had Erik Spoelstra as the head coach, we would firmly be in the playoff race right now and we'd be around 500. And I could not agree more. What I was going to lead this video into is who is to blame here, but I think I've made it kind of obvious. It's Jim Boylen. Another thing here is that for the first 10 or 12 games, he was consistently playing Luke Kornet 17 minutes a game. He was playing Ryan Arcidiacono, who is 6'1". I am taller than him, at small forward. Okay, he's playing a 6'1" player at small forward. There was many times in that Milwaukee game where it wasn't a switch, it wasn't an accident. Ryan Arcidiacono was guarding Giannis fucking Antetokounmpo. So I'm sorry if I seem a little mad here, but this is my team, and it's ridiculous what's going on here. The problem with playing Cornet, because you could argue, oh, well, who's going to play center instead? Well, we had Daniel Gaffer, who we drafted in the second round, immediately looked like a steal in the Summer League and preseason. Incredibly athletic, energy, big man, grabs, rebounds, blocks shots, finishes dunks off the pick and roll. And in the first game that he finally gets minutes, because Luke Cornet broke his nose, he put up 20 points and 5 rebounds on 10 for 12 shooting. He finally gets real minutes and he dominates. Now, obviously, I don't expect that consistently, but he did more in one game positive than Luke Cornet has probably done in his entire fucking career. But moving on from Jim Boylen, like I said, I've made this video before and I've had my complaints before. With some other player struggles that are not entirely on Boylen, but parts of them are, especially with Lauri Markkanen. Zach Lavine has not been great. However, I really just do think this is a case of a shooting slump for him. He's not going to be like this all the time. It does not help that the Bulls have consistently ran rotations that have hurt the spacing on the floor. Coby White is a poor shooter. I don't care that he hit 7 threes against the Knicks. So far, he's shooting like 20-something% from 3. I'm not calling him a good shooter right now. Chris Dunn's not a good shooter. Thad Young has been better than he has ever in his career, but that's still not good. And they've been consistently putting Zach out there with those 3 guys. Lauri Markkanen has not been featured in this offense the way that he needs to be, not by a mile. The Bulls have attempted to implement a new offense where basically within half a second, you're supposed to shoot, dribble, or pass. And that has not been happening. The passing has been towards the bottom of the league, despite the fact that in the preseason, the Bulls were passing like crazy and were supposed to for the rest of this season. And Lauri Markkanen, specifically in the offense, has pretty much been used as a spot-up shooter, which is ridiculous. This guy is 7 feet tall, great shooter, good ball handler, and good in the pick and roll, and he's being used like he's fucking PJ Tucker. It's ridiculous the way that he's being used in this offense. Now, I will say that Lauri Markkanen needs to develop some aggressiveness. In my first 2K Saturday video, or actually I believe it was my second after the MPJ one, I said that Lauri Markkanen, in order for him to become a great player, needs to become more aggressive with the ball in his hands to become, rather than a 18 to 20 point scorer, become a 25 to 27 point per game scorer. And right now, he has not even been the 18 point per game scorer. He's been a 11 point per game scorer. He had 37 points against the Hornets when I saw him in Charlotte, and he has played horrible ever since. As I said with Coby White, he's not a good shooter right now, and he's specifically been wildly inconsistent. It seems he either has a 25-point performance or a 7-point performance on 20% shooting. He'll still shoot like he's having a game where he's putting up 25 points, but he does not make shots like that. His mid-range game, he's been going to it too much, especially in the long mid-range, taking threes like he's JJ Redick when he really is not. I don't think he's a horrible 3-point shooter, but he's putting up shots like he's a great one. He's putting up like 6 threes a game in just 20 minutes of play, which is ridiculous. Also, the veterans have been disappointing. Tomas Satoransky far more than Thad Young. Thad has been a little bit disappointing, especially with how I expected him to be as a leader. You haven't really seen the leadership that he has been praised for so far in this team. It doesn't seem like there's any fucking leadership on this team. And his 3-point shooting has been good. His rebounding has been poor. His scoring has been better than I expected it to be. And his defense has been fine, but not as much of an impact. That he's not having as much of an impact as I would have thought that he would have had. Tomas Satoransky has been straight up bad. He had one game against the Atlanta Hawks where I believe he had a career high, but since then it has been really bad. So far he's averaging just 8 points. He's shooting 45% from 3, which is great, but 5 assists. His defense has been bad. I expected him to be an average defender, but he's been a bad defender. Actually, looking at his overall numbers, they're not as bad as I thought they would be, but he still is playing below expectations for sure. Otto Porter Jr., who is injured right now, also has been not hitting his shots, and it really would help if he was. Last year with the Bulls, through 15 games, he put up 17 points per game and shot 49% from 3. This year, he's shooting 42% and only averaging 11 points. And in the first couple of games of the year, he was playing like he was asleep. It was horrible. Like, he didn't even seem like he cared that he was playing basketball. It looked like he showed up the game practically drunk. On some positive notes, Wendell Carter Jr., who ironically enough is probably the only young guy on this team outside of Kobe White that I had my doubts about, he's been phenomenal, all right? He's shooting 11% better than he was last year at 59%. He is averaging two and a half more points per game, averaging 2.8 more rebounds, and he's playing better defense. He's being a leader, which I didn't expect him to be. He's just a way better player than he was last year, and he is pretty much the only guy on this team that's been consistent. He pretty much had the first bad game that he's had last night, and it wasn't even really his fault. He was just not being fed on offense, which is another problem that I have. He only put up 3 shots. This guy is like a 16 to even 17 point scorer in the right situation in my eyes, and he's really just being used as a role player when I think he's shown that he is better than that. Chandler Hutchinson has had to step up in his role with Otto Porter Jr. being out, and I think he's done pretty damn good, better than I would have expected, shooting 36% from 3 on minimal attempts, but still solid. 8 points per game, had a game where he threw down 4 dunks, playing really good defense, rebounding really well. He's grabbing 4 rebounds a game in just 20 minutes of play, which per 36 would put him at 7.5, which would make him one of the best rebounding wings in the NBA. He's a really good hustles guy. It would be nice if he was a better shooter. If he was a good shooter and he also had better pass vision, because that's something else I noticed, then he would be great. There was a couple plays where he had Lauri Markkanen open in one game specifically that I remember, and he missed them like 4 times. So probably best to keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible and use him like an Andre Roberson who can sometimes hit an open 3. But yeah, he's been all right. Ryan Arcidiacono, even though I do not like him playing small forward, I don't mind him being like a 10 minutes per game guy because he can hit his threes. So far this year, he's shooting very well. He's shooting 48.6% from three-point land with 2.3 attempts a game. He's good, but he does not deserve to be playing 17 minutes a game. And also, I'd like to take some credit here. Chris Dunn has also been very good in his role. I pretty much have been defending this guy tooth and nail from Bulls fans, and in the limited minutes that he's gotten, he's dropped down 10 minutes per game. He's averaged 7 points, 3.5 assists, shot 46% from the field, getting 2-point steals a game in just 21 minutes. Per 36, he would be averaging 3.8 steals. He's really just a phenomenal defensive player. Now, as for some potential solutions to this problem, there is the obvious one, which is fire Jim Boylen and preferably hire Dave Yeager. I think he's the perfect guy for this team for what he did for the Sacramento Kings, another young, inexperienced team with some veteran presence making a nearly playoff run in the Western Conference. That's really basically it. Maybe some trades need to happen, turning some of our lesser young guys, maybe Hutchinson or Archie, something like that could be turned into veterans. Denzel Valentine could be traded. Putting Kobe on a tighter leash, I really need to happen because it's driving me insane. He's just getting way too many shots, and he's missing way too many shots for him to be given this Lou Williams role that he clearly is not ready to play. Make Markkanen a foundation of the offense. As a matter of fact, make him the foundation. He can succeed as a stretch big, doing a lot of off-ball movement, getting a few post-ups, just doing what it takes to get him to 20-something points per game, because when Lowry is scoring, this team is at its best. Zach is always going to be scoring, or at least he usually will be, and the offense is not always better for it. But when Markkanen is having a good game, the Bulls are usually having a good game. Wendell needs to be used more as a playmaker. He has a very good natural playmaking ability at the center spot, and the Bulls never use it because, again, they're using him like he's a role player when he's clearly a young star. I also think we need to implement a swarming defense. We have Wendell in the paint, which has me pretty confident outside of the bullshit fouls that get called on him. And I think if we just attacked ball handlers rather than just playing passively, we would be better. It would also help if Otto Porter Jr. wasn't hurt, because even though he has been playing asleep, he has been better at wing than anyone else on this team. But yeah, the Bulls are a fucking mess. Hopefully some changes happen quick, because if not, I'm going to be a Dallas Mavericks fan soon. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.